Hey guys, today we're gonna try to beat Pokemon Emerald only using Pokemon from Route 101. That's right, we can only build our team with 3 different Pokemon, Zigzagoon, Poochyena, and Wurmple. But Wurmple is kinda useless, so we'll stick with the first 2. I know how tough this challenge was in Fire Red, so I'm expecting it to be even harder in this game. But alright, here's the rules. I can only use Pokemon from Route 101 in battle. I can't evolve them either because you can't catch their evolutions on Route 101. I can use other Pokemon for HMs, but not in battle. And no items in battle, but held items are okay. If I can beat the champion with my team in the 50s, I will be very happy. But I have a feeling that this is gonna be a grind. So, let's get started. We picked Treecko as our starter so that May will have a Combusken later. I always thought that it was weird that you never had to battle her with her starter fully evolved before the Pokemon League, but it's a relief in this challenge because Blaziken would have been a big problem. We go battle May, and then we head back to Professor Birch to get our Pokedex and Pokeballs. And now the real challenge begins. We start by heading to Route 101 and catching 2 Poochyena and 2 Zigzagoon. We name our 2 Poochyena, Pooch and Yena, and our 2 Zigzagoon, Zigzag and Goon. And like I mentioned in the intro, Wurmple is pretty useless, so we're gonna pass it up. But now we can start our journey and set our sights on Roxanne, the first gym leader. First, we talk to our dad and meet Wally in Petalburg City, before heading through the Petalburg Woods and taking down a Team Aqua Grunt. But now we arrive in Rustboro City. However, we're not ready to take on Roxanne and her rock types just yet. Fortunately, Poochyena learns Bite at level 13, and all Dark type moves in Gen 3 are special, so that should work well on her team. So we level up Pooch and Yena to level 13, and then challenge our first gym. We start with Goon against her first Geodude, and we hit it with 6 growls and land 2 headbutts before going down. We send out Yena and go for Bite over and over until eventually we get a crit and knock it out. Out comes her second Geodude, and we do the exact same thing, using Bite until we knock it out as well. But last is Nosepass. So, we hit it with 6 sand attacks and almost take it down. But Yena falls, so we throw out Zigzag and use 6 growls and then spam Headbutt, and after a bunch of them, we actually finish off Nosepass, and we didn't even need to use Pooch. Pretty good start. Next, we head into Rusturf Tunnel to retrieve the Devon goods and save Pico. And once we return to the Devon Corporation, the president, Mr. Stone, rewards us with a Pokenav and gives us a letter to deliver to Steven. But before we go do that, we do the optional battle with May in Rustboro. We lead with Goon against her Lotad, and it goes down easily to just 3 headbutts. But then she sends out Torchic, and we manage to take it down to half health before we get knocked out by an Ember. We throw in Zigzag, but we get instantly one-shotted, so we bring out Yena and use a couple bites to finish the job. She's not too bad, but it'll be a completely different story after Torchic evolves. The last thing we need to do in Rustboro is pick up Cut, and then we can head south to Mr. Briney's house. He offers to give us a ride in his boat over to Dewford, and we take him up on it. And once we get there, we traverse through Granite Cave until we find Steven, and we deliver the letter from Mr. Stone. After that's done, we can go take on Brawly for our second badge. We're really under-leveled though, and we lose over and over. So I decide to level up my team to about 18 to 19, and we try again. We start with Pooch against his Machop, and we actually do pretty good damage with a few bites before we go down. We throw in Zigzag to finish off Machop, and now he sends out Meditite, So we switch to our sacrificial Zigzagoon so that we can bring out Yenna. We hammer away and almost knock it out a few times, but Brawly keeps healing and eventually he switches into Makihita. We hit a bite and a sand attack, but then we get one-shotted by an arm thrust. We send in Goon and land a headbutt, but it also gets one-shotted. It's all up to Zigzag now, and we barely survive an arm thrust and we get a lucky crit to knock out Makihita. Last is Metatite, and our luck continues as we get another crit to finish it off. Wow, Zigzag really carried there. Now we can sail over to Slateport and head into the museum to run off Team Aqua and save Captain Stern. We give him the Devon goods, and now we can head north towards our next gym badge. But first, we get stopped by May, who wants to battle. We start out with Pooch against her Wingull, and we land 2 bites and almost knock it out, but May switches into Combuskin, so naturally, we get taken out. We throw in Goon, and we hit a few headbutts and leave Combuskin with a sliver of health before we get one-shotted. Yenna comes in and finishes it off though, and then Wingull comes back out, so we finish it off as well. And last is Lombre. It takes 5 bites to finally take it out and beat May. Yeah, her Combuskin is a headache, and it'll only get worse from here. Once we arrive in Mauville City, we run over and get ourselves a bike, and then we go take on Wally, who gets easily defeated in just 1 turn. But now we're able to challenge the 3rd gym. Unfortunately, we literally don't stand a chance against Watson's Magneton at this level. We just don't have any moves for it. So, it's time to grind some levels. We try again at level 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. This is getting ridiculous. And at 28, and here's what happens. We lead with Zigzag against his Voltorb. We use 2 headbutts to take it down, and now Electrike comes out. It takes 3 headbutts to take it down because of a super potion, but next is the rock in my shoe, Magneton. We land a sand attack before we go down, and then we send out Yenna. Now we know Swagger and Rock Smash, so that's our strat. We just try to get it to knock itself out, really. And look at that, it actually works, and now we're on his last Pokemon, Manectric. We switch to our sacrificial Zigzagoon so that we can bring out Pooch, and we go for Swagger and Bite. And after wrestling with it for a bit, we managed to knock it out and finally beat Watson. Jeez, I really hope the rest of the gyms aren't this hard. Now we can make our way to Phalaber Town, and to get there, you have to pass through Route 113, which is the coolest area in all of Gen 3 in my opinion. Let me know down in the comments if you agree. But we finally make it there, and we actually have to pass it up in order to enter Meteor Falls, where we run into Team Aqua and Team Magma. They get scared and run away though, so we chase them all the way up to Mount Chimney where we take on Team Magma's leader, Maxie. We lead with Pooch against his Mightyena, and we go for the Swagger and Rock Smash strat. We get hit with a few sand attacks though, so it takes a while, but we knock it out. Next is Zubat, so we switch to Goon, and we use 2 Shockwaves to take it down. Last is Camerupt, so we send in our sacrificial Zigzagoon so that we can switch to Yenna. We use Dig and barely survive a Magnitude before we get a crit and one-shot it. We probably would have lost if that was a higher Magnitude. Now we can head down Fiery Path to Lava Ridge Town where the 4th gym is. Flannery's fire types are pretty worrisome, and to say my team is fragile is an understatement. But we go challenge her anyways. We start off with Goon against her Numel, and we use Rollout, which knocks it out in 3 turns, one-shots Slugma, and even one-shots Camerupt. Only Torkoal is left, and we hit it with a sand attack before we go down. We throw in Zigzag, and the same thing happens, landing a headbutt and getting one-shotted. We send in Pooch and go for Swagger and Bite, but we get knocked out as well, and now it's all up to Yenna, who uses Dig and easily finishes the job. I know that didn't look too bad, but that was my 15th try. But 4 badges down. Next, we need to head back to Petalburg City. And on our way, we reunite 2 lovers in Rusturf Tunnel and get strength. Now, Norman is arguably one of the toughest gym leaders in the game, and it's really because of slacking. It's like a tank, and my team is like ants in comparison. And it's even worse than I thought. We lose time and time again before I finally decide to level up my team and try again. This time we start with Goon against his Spinda, and we manage to take it out with just 3 headbutts. But here comes slacking, so we send out our sacrificial Zigzagoon on his attacking turn so that we can switch into Goon while he's loafing around. We land 3 sand attacks before we get knocked out, and then we bring out Yenna and hit 3 swaggers, and I think you see what I'm trying to do. We keep it confused and start going for Rock Smash, and eventually it knocks itself out. Next is Vigoroth, who packs a pretty good punch, and we hit it with a bite and a takedown before we get knocked out. We send in Zigzag, and we land a sand attack which pays off immediately, and we finish it off with Flail. Last up is Lanoon, and it quickly takes down Zigzag, so we're down to just Pooch. We use Swagger, it hits itself twice from confusion, and then we finish the job with a takedown. Let's go! That battle was so tough. Let's hope the next one is a little bit easier. We pick up Surf before we leave Petalburg, and now we can head to Mauville and surf east until we hit land. While heading up Route 119, we notice Team Aqua blocking the way, so we go into the Weather Institute to see what's going on. After running off Team Aqua and saving the scientists, we continue towards Fortree, but not before May jump scares us and forces us to battle. We lead with Zigzag against her Pelipper, but we immediately switch to Goon and almost knock it out with a Shockwave before finishing it off with a Headbutt. Next is Combuskin, and we get 2 lucky flinches and knock it out with 3 headbutts. That's a relief. Last is Lombre, and it can't really do much, so we take it down with 3 headbutts as well. Maybe May won't be as much of an obstacle as I initially thought. We finally arrive in Fortree City, and we immediately head over to Route 120 to meet up with Steven and get the Devon Scope. Now we're able to get that Kecleon out of the way and go challenge the 6th gym leader, Winona. We tried the battle a few times unsuccessfully before I decide to level up the team to 40 and give it another try. We start out with Pooch against her Swablu, and it takes 5 bites because of a Hyper Potion to knock it out. Next is Tropius, and I don't know if I've ever seen so many flinches in my life, but we knock it out. She sends out Pelipper next, and Pooch is really going off. We take it down with just 3 takedowns. Skarmory is a tough one though, and it takes us down easily, so we send in Goon. We land 3 Shockwaves and Skarmory falls, wow. Last up is Altaria, and Goon goes down quick. Yenna comes out and does decent damage before going down. But now we're on our last Pokemon, Zigzag. All it takes is 2 headbutts though, and we finish the battle and earn our 6th badge. We had so much luck in that battle, but hey, I'm not complaining. Our next destination is Lilycove City, and there's a bunch of trainers to battle along the way, and I'm sure we'll need the experience for our next gym battle. Once we make it to Lilycove, we go up and challenge May for not letting us go shopping. We lead with Yenna against her Tropius, and May decides she doesn't really want to hurt my Pokemon, so we just take it out with some crunches. Next is Combuskin, and we use 3 takedowns to knock it out along with ourselves. Good work, Yenna. We send in Zigzag, and she responds with Pelipper. We know Belly Drum now, so yeah. Pelipper's a one-shot, and her last Pokemon Ludicolo is also a one-shot. And that's our last battle with May. And I'm actually pretty disappointed it wasn't a tougher fight. They really should have given her a Blaziken here, but oh well. We run into the department store and buy the TM's Blizzard and Thunder for Goon, and then we head over to Mount Pyre. Once we scale all the way to the top, we encounter Team Aqua and stop them from harassing these old people because that's just not cool. Next, we use a Pelipper that we just caught to fly to Lava Ridge so that we can infiltrate the Team Magma hideout in Jagged Pass. We walk in on Maxie and Groudon having a moment, and then Maxie challenges us to a battle. We start out with Zigzag against his Mightyena, and we set up Belly Drum, then proceed to one-shot his entire team. We did get a lucky miss there at the end though, but still, good work Zigzag. Next, we head to Slateport to talk to Captain Stern, and then we can fly back to Lily Cove to go raid the Team Aqua hideout. We embarrass their higher-ups and send them packing, but I'm sure that's not the last we'll see of them. But now we can get back to business and surf over to Mossdeep City where the 7th gym is. Tate and Liza are a very unique gym battle. It being a double battle makes things a lot more complicated. Although we have a type advantage with our Poochyenas, it's not going to matter much when we get outsped and one-shotted. And my fears become reality. We can hardly get past Claydol and Earthquake. I tried strategies with Swagger and things like that, but it's just not doable right now. So we level up the team all the way to 51, and it's still not gonna happen. This is very frustrating. We get a few more levels, and then we try again. This time, we start out with Pooch and Yena, and I realize that Xatu can't really do anything against us, so we leave it alone and just double team the rest of their Pokemon. We're able to take down Claydol with 2 crunches. Next is Solrock, and it goes down the same way. It works on Lunatone as well, and now we just have to deal with Xatu, who falls to a Shadow Ball and a crunch. Finally! We actually got really lucky because they literally did not attack us. But man, that took forever. Only 1 badge left. Before we leave Mossdeep, we head over to the Space Center where Team Magma is causing problems. We run in there and team up with Steven to defeat Maxie and kick him out of there. And then we go over to Steven's house and he gives us Dive. Now we can go explore underwater. But while we're doing that, we find Team Aqua's submarine, so we resurface to find out what's going on. We make our way through C4 Cavern until we find Archie, and this is where everything hits the fan. I always loved this part of the game because everyone's freaking out and it's storming and yeah, just very dramatic. We fly over to Stutopolis and things are definitely getting heated. So we go find Wallace and he sends us out to find the only thing that can save us, Rayquaza. And that's exactly what it does in this epic cutscene. And now there's finally peace. For everyone but the 8th gym leader, Juan, because we'll do anything to have that 8th and final badge. We head straight in there and take him on. We lead with Zigzag against his Luvedisc, and we set up a Belly Drum and then proceed to one-shot his entire team before ultimately getting stopped and knocked out by his Kingdra. We bring out Yena, and although it uses a few double teams, we land 3 Swaggers and get some confusion luck to where we can finish it off with Crunch. That's so crazy. The last gym leader was the easiest. I have no words. Let's go to Victory Road. Now, we have one more battle to cover before the Pokemon League, and it's Wally. We start with Zigzag, and it's starting to feel like a broken record, but we use Belly Drum and then one-shot his entire team. I'm sure we'll be using this strat again against the Pokemon League. It just works so well. We make it out the other side of Victory Road, and then, with our team at level 55, we take on the Pokemon League. First up is Sydney, and we lead with Zigzag because we can just set up Belly Drum and sweep his entire team. Sometimes we miss and get knocked out because of the sand attack from Mariana, but overall this strat works pretty consistently. So now we need to worry about Phoebe, because Zigzag won't be able to do anything against her ghost types. And although you'd think that she wouldn't be too hard with Pooch and Yenna, we just can't seem to beat her. So naturally, it's time to grind some levels. And believe it or not, we actually don't make any sort of significant run until we get our team all the way to level 65. This time against Phoebe, our team's a little tankier and we hit just a little harder. Dusclops isn't a problem, and we get a crit on Bayonet. Sableye is a little annoying, but it goes down as well. Her other Bayonet is a one-shot, and Pooch doesn't go down until her last Pokemon, Dusclops. But we bring in Yenna and easily finish it off. So Phoebe is pretty easy now. But it's time for Glacia, and we start with Goon against her Celio. It takes quite a while, but we're able to wrestle it down with a mix of headbutts and shockwaves. We switch to one of our extras so that we can bring out Pooch, and we're able to land a couple swaggers before going down. We bring out Goon and almost knock out Glalie, but we get knocked out instead. Now we throw in Zigzag, and we actually outspeed and finish it off. Next is Celio, and I use this opportunity to set up Belly Drum, and then we one-shot Celio, we outspeed and one-shot Glalie, and then we use Double Edge just to be certain we one-shot Walrein. This would have been way easier if I had known that Zigzag outsped her whole team, but oh well. Now we're on to Drake, but we kept losing, so I used my 4 rare candies on Goon, and we try again. We start with Zigzag and we go for Belly Drum, and we're able to one-shot Shelgon, Altaria, and Kingdra. But out comes Flygon, so we send in an extra so that we can switch to Goon. We survive an Earthquake and one-shot it with a Blizzard. Nice. And now we're on his last Pokemon, Salamence. We barely survive a Dragon Claw, and we land a Blizzard to knock it out and finish off Drake. Let's go. Those 4 levels really made a huge difference. But will it be enough to beat the champion? Let's find out. Well, the short answer is no. And the long answer is no, definitely not. Why would you even think that? We were never even able to get past his second Pokemon. So, it looks like we're heading back to Sky Pillar in absolute disgust to level up some more. But once we break into the 70s, we come back to Evergrande City, demolish the Elite Four, and then stand before the champion once more. We lead with Goon against his Wailord, and it takes 2 Thunders to knock it out. Next is Tentacruel, so we send in an extra so that we can switch to Pooch. We quickly get one-shotted though, so we have to bring out Yenna. We almost knock it out with our 3rd Shadow Ball, but we get knocked out instead. But hold on, if I go for Belly Drum with Zigzag while Wallace heals, maybe I can win this thing. Stop! We survive with 1 HP and we one-shot Tentacruel. We also one-shot Ludicolo, Whiscash, and Gyarados, but now we're on his last Pokemon, Milotic, so we send in an extra so that we can switch to a healthy Goon. We land 3 Thunders and oh, it's paralyzed! Knock us out! Knock us out! Full power flail! Yes! Let's go! Out of my entire team, we only had a single HP left. That's crazy. What a run. Wow. Well guys, we did it. We beat Pokemon Emerald only using Pokemon from Route 101. And we actually did it at a lower level than we did in Fire Red. Crazy. That was definitely the most ridiculous ending to a champion battle I've ever experienced. You just can't make this stuff up. But make sure you hit that like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more videos like this. Also, let me know down in the comments who your MVP of the run was. It feels pretty close between Goon and Zigzag to me. But alright guys, see you in the next one.